Hello everyone, I'm calling this film Freedom, and I'm going to start off by doing a rewind or three. So this is rewind in my personal history. I'm in Jamaica. I'm there for a month. I'm having the time of my life. The only way I can describe it is rather like some people describe taking a substance called LSD. That's about the best way I can describe being in Jamaica. And this is the time I'm talking to you about. It's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm sleeping outside, actually just in the lee of a demolished building, and it's on a headland. And I'm invited to sleep in my friend's house, but I prefer to sleep here because of the breeze, and it's just so wonderful to be able to sleep in the breeze as opposed to lying awake in my friend's house unable to sleep. So here I am, fast asleep, tucked up in my sleeping bag. At that point in my life I used to wear pyjamas, so that I'm wearing my pyjamas tucked up in my sleeping bag, and I hear a sound and it disturbs my sleep, and I wake up, pull myself out of the sleeping bag and look around to see what it was that caused the sounds. There's a man right in front of me. He's got a rather large machete in his right hand. He doesn't look very happy, in fact he looks very angry. And he asked me to give him all my worldly goods. And I realised that all I've got is the pyjamas I'm standing up in my sleeping bag on the floor a few yards away. And I remember actually I've got a little watch which a friend gave me. So I take my watch off my wrist and I hand it over to him, and he says, "Where is all your money?" I said, "It's not here, that's all I've got." He looks a little more angry now, and I'm wondering what's going to happen. All the way through what is happening, the most important thing I want to relay to you is how I was feeling. I was feeling very calm, remarkably calm. He muttered a few words which I didn't fully understand, and realising that I was speaking my truth, he walked off with my watch. And it's funny because it brings a smile to my face to remember this event even now. Now I'm going to fast forward to another point in my life. This was actually in 2012. I'd crossed over from Washington State into Canada, and I'm in Vancouver. I'm staying with my wonderful friend Maria, and I'm not sure whether it's the first night or the second night, I can't remember now, doesn't matter which. And I'm taking her out for a meal in a restaurant. It's the second night, I remember. And we're on a bus which is taking us across town. And then we get off the bus and we walk the short distance to where the restaurant is, both feeling quite excited, having a meal out, and there's possibly some interesting entertainment going to be happening at this restaurant. And then as I'm standing outside the door, I feel in my pocket for my wallet and I realise it's not there. Another of these priceless moments in life. And first of all, my energy level drops because the treat which I want to give my friend is no longer possible. Furthermore, I'm not sure how we're going to make it back to her apartment later on in the evening. So I have an experience of feeling troubled and letting my friend down. And then again it happens. It's the calmness. Calmness is rather like a cloud, like the cloud of cloud dew that my guide Narbeth provides to people when they're being healed. It's just as if someone has laid a very gentle cloud over me and I'm just feeling calmness. And so we talk about the situation, and my friend works out how we're going to get back, and it will involve a little getting onto public transport means and not paying. This is not something I'm familiar with doing, so I get something I was not expecting. And so that's what we do. We use different methods of transport without paying. And eventually, somewhat hungry, and late at night, we arrive back at her apartment. And I'm rewinding again. This time, I'm on a train. And the train takes me from Barcelona Airport to Barcelona City. And I'm going to dance the 5 rhythms, which I love to do, in a wonderful place in Spain called Banyoles, and I apologise to Spanish speakers for my poor pronunciation. I'm on the train, and it stops, and it stops, and at a particular point on the journey, I notice that my bag is missing, and so I have a moment of realising that my passport, my money, my information about how to get to my destination, and my glasses are all missing. And again, this calmness descends upon me, and all I can do is accept how things are, realise there's some opportunity here which I don't understand, and that's okay, and then do my best moment to moment. And so I find myself continuing on my journey to Barcelona, and I get to the main railway station, and my conventional rational mind kicks in about what to do. Well, I have had things stolen from me, so I will go to the police in the station. So I did, and here came my first problem. I didn't speak a word of Spanish, and the Spanish police in this station don't speak a word of English, so I was being confronted with something quite powerful about communication. Okay, let's communicate without words. This is it. You're up. That's what it was like for me. And I communicated as best I could what had happened. I mimed it all out, and this is after a while of waiting, because if you have something stolen from you and you go to the police, you always wait. It's a very important thing to be aware of. So I was getting plenty of experience in patience as well. And at one of those points when I was being asked to do something, then the policeman provides me with some forms to fill in. Now, the problem I have here is that the form's in Spanish, but that's not such a big deal. The real big deal is I have no glasses, so I cannot see the words on the form. So then I have to mime out to the policeman that I don't have glasses, therefore I cannot see the words on the form. And while this is going on, there is a part of me observing myself and observing the situation and finding it very, very amusing. While there's other part which is the calm that continues. All I can do is the best I can in these circumstances. And I realise that this is not going to be productive. So an inner sense tells me it's time to leave the police station, so I do. And I realise what I need to do is to get back on the train and go back to the airport and stop off at the station where I noticed that my bag was missing. I don't really know what I intend to achieve by this. It's simply an intuition, a feeling. That's the thing to do. So now I'm standing one side of the ticket barrier. The other side of the ticket barrier there are the trains, and there's a man at the ticket barrier. What do I do about this? I don't really know. So I walk up to the man and I start to communicate in my English with virtually no Spanish, and I don't understand why, but the man waves me through. So this is a victory for human kindness. Suddenly I'm allowed to do something that logistically I would not be allowed to do. So I find the platform for the train, I get on the train, and I travel to that station and I get off, wondering what it is I'm going to do here. And so I just wander around. I look around the platforms, I look along the station. At one point, while I'm walking along a platform, not knowing quite what I'm doing, I can see a piece of paper. And the colour excites me because it's the same yellow piece of paper with a phone number of the place where I'm going to be staying for a week on it. And it's like, yes, this is progress. And I grab up that piece of paper with enormous gratitude, as I'm sure you can imagine. I now have one lifeline for my next steps. It feels great. The next idea comes to me, why don't I look in the bins? You never know what you might find. So I start looking in all the rubbish bins in the station. And very miraculously, I discover my empty wallet and my passport. So things are really looking up. I now have the paper of where I'm going to, and I have my passport. Things really are improving. And having looked a lot more thoroughly and realising I think that's it, I then find in amongst another section, if I don't remember which bin it was, I managed to find my ticket. So I have my air ticket, I have my passport, and I have my piece of paper with a phone number on. Intuition tells me it's time to go, so I go to the platform, get on the train, go to Barcelona airport. Not really sure what I'm going to do here, except I know that airports are international. There's a better chance of someone speaking English. And so, first of all, I go to the police post in the airport and ask if I can make a phone call. I'm told no, I can't. I explain the situation. I'm told no, I can't. Okay, the calmness is still there. Well, I get a no. I will look for a yes somewhere else. Finally, I find a information point from some company or other. It's not the airport, it's some business. I don't remember which one it is now. And I say to them my story, and I ask, please may I make a phone call? And the woman looks at me and says, yes, you may. And with a great leap of gratitude in my heart, I pick up the phone receiver and I dial, and I get in touch with one of the people on my 5 Rhythms week, and everything slots into place piece by piece. And the next thing I know, it's all being organised. The taxi will arrive at the airport, it will transport me to another destination, and at this other destination someone will have the money to pay this taxi. I will then join another person who has also had an experience like me of losing their valuables, and we will both be taken by a car to our final destination, and I can see exactly what happens. And there's one thing that I really feel an emotional attachment about. I'm not emotionally attached to any of the things that were stolen except for one thing, my tarot deck. I was really attached to that, a great love and appreciation for it. Within 24 hours of being in my destination and talking to some of the people there and just sharing about what happened, one of the people, I will mention her name is Jo Lily, lovely woman, said to me, hey, you've lost a tarot deck. I have 3 for you. And lo and behold, some time after I went back to England, I went to visit her, and she did indeed give me 3 tarot decks. So I guess the moral for this story is that when things happen which confound our sense of what we think is right or just, or what we feel we deserve, there's possibilities that opens up. And now I want to talk about a man called Alberto Varela, and he's written a book, and it's called From Prison, My Newfound Freedom. There's the title, in case I've got the words not quite exactly right. And in this book he makes a point which my 3 stories have been serving to illustrate. My 3 stories are somewhat redolent of his far more severe experience of being in prison for a year. And the gift he got from being in prison was to realise that every moment represents opportunity to either be in resistance or be in surrendering to the freedom of what is. And we've heard these expressions that are becoming more and more popular at the moment. It is what it is. What can you do? It's all good. I think that last one was from some TV advert. Doesn't matter where it comes from, there's this thought form which is infiltrating the zeitgeist of the cultures, of many cultures around the world. And the thought form is as follows: it is what it is, accept it, appreciate it, and this is the road to freedom. This is how we drop into freedom. I've recently completed a miraculous experience in Italy with Alberto and other people guiding us through our individual life journeys, all coming together to learn with and from each other. And we've been enjoying plants, and we've also been experiencing psychological integration processes. And what happens is that each person takes their turn, and the team work with that person to uncover their issues, what would be useful to explore. This usually involves some discomfort for the person, and that's part of the journey. And what we all discover very rapidly is that while we are listening and this person is having their integration, their issue is my issue, it's his issue, it's her issue. Every single time someone is up in front of the spotlight, we find that the issue of that person is the same as my own. And this is a really important thing about human beings, because if we are all one, and let's remember Bill Hicks, the wonderful comedian from the United States of America, and there's something you can get on YouTube, it's called It's Just a Ride. It's Just a Ride by Bill Hicks. I thoroughly recommend that one. There's our own beloved William Shakespeare, all the world is a stage and we are but players on it. So I have found that from extreme experiences, I get catapulted into my freedom. And one of my key senses is this sense of calmness which descends upon me from I don't know where. Rather like a wonderful medicine which just is giving me exactly what I need. And I see my life during that retreat experience as follows. Every day I was leaping onto what I call the cosmic surfboard, being completely free and expressing my freedom in whatever way I saw fit, being around people who loved and accepted me for exactly who I am, and dropping off the surfboard, going into resistance, going into, I'm finding this difficult, And I guess this is what it's all about for us as human beings at the moment, because when you're being reborn, when you're going through your awakening process, being reborn is like birth, and birth is contractions. When you get the contraction, which is the discomfort, which is actually sensation, but it gets labelled as pain for the woman giving birth, and can be seen for the baby as also such, but really is sensation. So what you get is you get strong sensation during the contraction, then the contraction eases, and it becomes easier. Well, this is exactly what we're all experiencing at the moment. We get experience of resistance and acceptance, resistance, acceptance. So let me tell you my little story about today. I had a plan. My plan today was to go out into my garden and my allotment and to sow seeds. And what's happened to me today is physically I've been so weak, I've not been able to do this. And I got into resistance, but I want to go into the garden and plant the seeds, sow the seeds, plant the plants. And my body is saying, you are weak, you do not have the energy. And so I was in resistance about this. I want to do this thing, I'm attached to it. I'm too tired, I'm too weak. And finally I went to bed. And I read a little bit from Alberto's book, and I read about the bit about freedom is accepting things exactly as they are right here, right now. I smiled to myself, and I snuggled under the covers, even though it was in the early afternoon. The former judgments upon myself I would have made, I'd let go of. I'm feeling very tired and weak. I'm in bed. It's all good. After a short time, the energy seemed to return. And here I am outside in wild nature, which I love, talking to you guys. And after this, yes, that's right, I'm going to go and sow some seeds in my garden. So, a very great love to all of you. And remember that when the process of resistance arise, just remember about the rubber band effect. Look at the film on that subject. That really helps to cue you into what's going on. And whenever you get extreme, severe experiences being presented to you by life, tune into the calmness which is there for you, that is your guide for moment by moment steps, and appreciate every step towards your freedom and your personal liberation. And your journey is completely unique, only you can be you. I send all my love to you for being you, and my love to me for being me. It's all good, thank you. These daffodils might be in a cage, still they are free.